This is a lovely little Tangelwood guitar. It says on it British made with a Union Jack on it. Sundance. I can't read the serial number, but I'll put that down below. But Tangelwood guitar, this is a lovely 3/4 size one. And it's got a few little issues and it needs to be addressed. Fretboard is extremely dirty. The neck, I'll just check it. I'm pretty sure, looking at it from my eye point of view, yeah, but it has an underbow, which means that a little bit deeper there than it should be. Strings are very badly, I think they're damaged actually, they're broken. They're Georgie girl. She's been very naughty tonight. There's a couple of little spots on the bodywork which I might be able to help a little bit with, but it's been matured. I'll find out what age it is because it's a nice dark colour on the wood, so I wouldn't want to do too much to it to change the colour of the wood. Might just be able to sand them down. It is a semi-acoustic with a nice I'm going to say Takamine again, Tangelwood. Georgie girl, you're going to get smacked if you stop. Stop it now, stop it. And the back is a beautiful little back. Now you notice up here the little notch. If I'm not getting bitten by a cat that wants to play, and she's going to get a punch in the snooter if she doesn't stop. You don't blink at me, I'll be cross with you. If you keep biting me, I'll be cross with you. But everything there is nice. I'll take those off because those will damage the wood eventually. The only real damage that this has is the battery case, as you probably can. I don't think you can see it too clearly. The problem with the battery case is that's been glued on. So hopefully I'll be able to take that off. Maybe some isopropanol or something like that will help me take it off. And also I'll replace that box with a proper Tangelwood battery box. But also it drains the battery, and I suspect the battery being drained is because the 3-way switch here inside this is not working. So they'll have to look at that too. But overall it's going to be a nice little guitar by the time I finish with it. Straighten the neck, blah blah blah, not a lot to do with it. But I'll take you through this because this is a nice guitar, the Tangelwood. So, the new one has arrived, but this one looks like it's been glued on. There's no screws on it, so let's just see what happens when I use a pair of pliers on it. Nothing's moving. Let me try a little bit of a little bit of leverage on each side. I don't want to leverage so much that it'll peel off some of the laminate. There we go. Right, okay. Yes, it was glued on. And it's very, very similar type of box. Okay. So I'm going to, it's been a rubberized glue, so that's why it came off. Right, I'm going to have to clean all this. That's the silicone. The silicone. Right. I'm going to clean all this off and snap that to get the wires out. Snap that, just like that. Oh, look at that, it did just do it like that. Usually it doesn't just do it like that. Right, and then I have to work at this by using my finger to get the silicone off. And then I'm going to have to use something because it's had a bit of tape over it as well. Then I have to test this because it's switching on and off whenever you put the plug in. Right, the strings are pretty chipped there, and I wonder why they're chipped. There's little chips out of them. I don't think you'll be able to see that. This is the one that can stick me and make me bleed. Only guitarists bleed. Oh no, we'll get that. Anyway, let you see the neck. There's going to have to be some work done to that. As you can see, it's pretty stinking. I'm not that fussy on scraping it. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm actually just going to run the blade over it just a tiny touch to let you see. I don't think that it's that dirty, but I'm not going to scrape it. I'll just let you see. Look at the dirt that's coming off without scraping. So we'll think about how I'm going to do that. Less rush, more haste, or is it less haste, more rush? Who cares? Anyway, yeah, go back up there, and you can see how dirty that is. Now, do I want to waste the camera? No, I don't. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to put my hand in there and reach right back to there. I'm not quite sure I'm going to be successful at that. Oh, sorry. I'm not too sure I'm going to be successful. I've got to put my hand right in and hold that there. Right, I'll come back to you when I'm ready to do that. Well, I don't know how much you're going to see, but I'm a bit relieved because this is a better quality acoustic, and it has a little trick on the sleeve where you can actually put a metal bar inside that and then turn the knob, so you don't have to put your hand in to hold it to tighten. So you can put your metal bar in there, which holds it, and then use your snub nose pliers to loosen it or tighten it, whatever way you want to. I might even have a nut for it. So whenever I finished with it, I'll put my magic wand on it. My magic wand will just plug into there, and then I can pull it through the hole. But before I take it out, I'll put the magic wand on it, which feels a bit loose at the moment, the magic wand. Right, what I was hoping for was that this would come right off, but it's not. So I push that in and bring that through, and then I can check the wiring and see why the wiring is not working, and then put that back in again and then pull it through. But I'm going to have to cut that all off, so I'll come back to you in a few minutes. Okay, take two. Yes, this is take two because I was yawning so much during the first take. I thought it was too rude. I was sitting on the settee and I shouldn't have been. But I could sit there all night. I'm tired today. This is the complete unit that sits on the side of the guitar on the inside. It's a very neatly made unit with a little face that holds it onto the guitar. I'm not going to show you putting that in because that's just me fiddling and struggling to put it in. But that's the actual pickup. And I've never seen a pickup as thin as that. Look how thin that is. And that sits onto the saddle. It's quite strong, and it's soldered into the... Where we go? It's soldered into the mechanism through a very strong restraining strap. So it's all very neatly done, very good. And this is, what's it called? It's called a B-band bass. Well, let's see who makes it. It's acoustic guitar preamplifier made in China. Connected pickup made in Finland. This is made in Finland. Designed and engineered by B-band Finland. And it gives you telephone numbers, and it's a model A3T. Very neat. It's a nice looking unit, and it works well. Well, I hope it works well. I've already tried it and it worked well. So I'm going to put it all back together, but at no point, as I say, putting the camera on for this. So some of you eagle eye people know that I decided to do a scrape of the neck. It was just so bad, but I haven't quite finished, and I'm going to go through it again with a very gentle scrape again, just to get out any little marks that I made. But I'll show you that. And this little bit is the kind of double-sided tape you stick on, and you close it over for putting up calendars and stuff like that. Well, I'm going to put that underneath on the body, glue it on, and then I put the cables in there, and then I close that, and it snaps shut. That'll keep all the cables tidy. All right. am not happy. And I tell you for why I'm not happy. Because that all went as smooth as possible. Everything just slipped into place and nothing went wrong. And that's why I'm not happy, because something has to go wrong for it to be right. So we'll soon find out if I have a right to be not happy. I'm going to just test the electrics now. It's working. It's working. I still think something's going to go wrong, but I should be happy. Right, that's it working, and very nicely too. That finish pickup was really nice. Right, so what I'm going to do now, shall I make you suffer through it? I'm going to clean that neck a little bit more, but I won't make you suffer through it. Oh yes, I will make you suffer. No, I don't know. Maybe people might want to see how to scrape a neck. So I'll just... This is going to be a very gentle, light scraping of a neck because it's already got the main dirt off it. And you can see one of the problems with scraping a neck is that sometimes you get a different coloured wood beneath it. But this neck, it needs to have the frets crowned slightly before I do the rest of the neck. So I'm going to have to crown those frets, because there's a little bit of wear and tear there that I'd just like to bring down a little bit, only lightly, and I shall do that on camera too. Okay, new blade, and just a little bit of gentle scraping on this now, because I've already done some. All I'm going to do now is just make it, well, I suppose you could say I'm going to make it perfect now, because I'm not going to do very much. Well, actually, I'm looking at it, there's not that much I need to do. I think it's probably in there. Yeah. And I'm going to fast forward. Now for this one, I'm going to use High Build by Crimson Guitars, because I think it's a very dry neck, but it needs a bit of darkness to it, and this will give it that depth. I'll show you it on one. You see how that looks? That just gives it that bit of depth. Have to polish it off again and put it back on again, and polish it off and take it back on again with Crimson. You put this on. I don't think Crimson recommend it for the neck, but they don't. I've watched it, and he doesn't disrecommend it. I think that he's worried that people will put it on the neck and leave it, because that's not how you do it. You have to put it on the neck, polish it off, put it on the neck again and polish it off. It's not like lemon oil where you can leave it on the neck and it dries in. This can be sticky, and if you don't put it on right and take it off correctly, then you might end up with a sticky fretboard. It's not going to destroy it, but it just means you get more work to de-stickify it. So I leave this on for a little while. I'm going to put another coat on and then polish it off, and then put another coat on. No, I probably only put two, because I don't want it super high glossy. The more coats you put on, more coats you polish off, it'll get glossier and glossier. And I just want this to be a nice natural looking wood with a bit of a sheen on it. And I'll leave that on for a little while. It also helps the wood. It's got a whole lot of stuff in it that help the wood stay supple and not crack over the years. So there you go. And when I polish that off, that'll be a bit more shiny, but it looks better already. Now, the neck is looking lovely, but I have a little bit of a conundrum, which I'm pretty sure I know what I'm going to do about. I think it's pretty obvious. You can see these marks down here. If I turn them sideways, you see they're paler than the rest of the guitar. Now, the owner is touring in Japan at the moment, so I can't speak to him about it. But I think it pretty much takes away the... It's an obvious place to look, and it takes away from the guitar. Now, one of the things I thought whenever I got this guitar was that it was a matte finish, and that's going to cause a problem because somebody put super glue in there and then they used some fine sandpaper to rub over it, but the sandpaper has left different colors. So I thought because it was matte, it's going to be almost impossible to finish it. Now, I can't see with this lighting, but if you see just below the bridge, there's a shiny spot there, where somebody's hands may be rubbing against it when they're playing. And that tells me that it's not matte. Let me just see, that tells me that it's glossy. And then again up here where the armrest will be running up to, it's glossy. So what I'm thinking of doing is using some 3000 sandpaper just to take away the scratches of the thing, and then use some polish, and hopefully that will do the job. The other option is, if you look at, where's that tissue? I had a tissue there a second ago. There it is there. If you look at that bottom part, when I wet it, just being wet sort of hides that a fair amount. Now that seems to imply that once I've sanded that, very gently sanded it with 3000, and 3000 is the highest I have, and then polish it, that we might be okay. So I'm going to try that. Now, I need to move my monitor because my monitor's up there and it's right beside the brand new lights I have, and I can barely see the monitor so that I can keep it in position for you. Now, this is the 3000. Yeah, 3000. You can get, I understand you can get 15,000 and 30,000 and stuff like that, but that's 3,000 I'm going to use. And I'm going to use a little bit of water, so I'm just going to get a little dish of water and sand that gently. Now, some of them were eagle-eyed ones of you will notice I used a flat plate with water in it. And there's a very good reason for that as well, because it was the first plate that came to hand. So I'm just going to sand gently. And what I'm trying to do is take away the sanding marks left by the rough sandpaper that the person used who filled this. So I'm going to do one and then clean it and see how it looks. In actual fact, that has helped. Even just that little bit has helped, but it still needs to be polished. I'll just give it a bit more. I'm hoping the sanding will do what I need to do with it, which is a risk, of course. See, he hasn't really, I'm saying he, but whoever filled it in still left it slightly high, but I'm not going to take the risk of using a razor blade to bring it down. I'm just going to sand away the deep sanding grooves that were used with the sandpaper that was used. I got a feeling it probably was about 1,000 grit sandpaper was used, and that has left some scratches. So I can't do much about the actual ugly marks, but I might be able to do something now with polish, and this is where we keep our fingers crossed. Right, let me just bring that down there and we'll go there. I need a longer bench, but I don't need a longer bench because I've got enough bloody room. Right, let's try. There you go. So if this doesn't work, we'll have to consider some sort of oil on it. But I'm not just going to polish here, I'm going to polish the whole guitar top, because it is a dull finish to it, and I got a feeling it should be a shiny high gloss finish. That is helping a bit. Usually polish in circles. It looks like whoever sanded has taken off the gloss. They've gone too far down and taken off the gloss. So I'm not sure if this is going to work. Okay, I don't think it's any better. It's not any worse, which is good, but it's not any better. I don't know. I can still see some scratches there. What the polish is actually an extremely mild sandpaper, and it's polishing off the guff. You know, something I'm going to just try a little bit further. Try to take some of the scratches off, because that's what's causing the problem. It's helping. I think I'm going to have to do that one again too, because the scratches are deeper there. And the scratches are from the sandpaper. Not this sandpaper, but whatever sandpaper they used to fix the dents. The cure for this is not to create dents. Yeah, but that doesn't happen, does it? Dents happen. Okay, now let's polish this up and see what we can do. I have a buffer, could do it, but I don't trust the buffer. It sounds silly because it's me that's operating the buffer, but I think the buffer is just too... I can't see what I'm doing when the buffer's going round and round and round on top of it, but I can see what my hand's doing when it's going round and round and round on top of the mark. Now the idea is to try to get it to squeak, and then you know it's pretty much... Now I don't know whether you can see or not, but the whole area is darker because it's polished. The whole area has gone darker, and I presume that's because I'm taking off the guff that was on it. Right, more polish. Well, the good news is that it's not getting any worse, and I haven't done any serious damage to it. Bad news is I can't get this bloody thing to come out. Come on, you. Thank you. Maybe a bit too much now. I'll clean your knob later, mate. You know something, that's done a really good job down there. So I think I am succeeding. I think I am succeeding. I need a drink. Pause. Right, I think I'm succeeding down there. I don't need to sound that anymore, but I do need to sound that one a little bit. Oh, not that one, this one. Okay. Okay, no more sanding, just polishing. Now the only thing that this came in for was replacing the battery, but if I can help and bring the guitar a little bit more back into life, I'm more than happy to do that. So, and if I have the time, which is something that I'm going to make for this guitar. Oh, it's hot. This is all manual labor. And that's pretty good. That's doing a pretty good job. And I think it's not done yet, but you can see that. What can you see with that light? What can you see? You see it's not showing as much. So just a bit more elbow grease and I'll move on to the rest of the top. And I can call it a success then. I'm very happy with that. I'm very happy with that. One more little polish of all of it. Right, okay, now I'm going to polish the rest of it. I'm not going to go as crazy on the rest of it, but Right, I'm going to switch off now and I'll polish the rest of the guitar up itself, but you can see that that's a really good job, and I'm going to try to hide that white bit, but pause and I'll come back to you when I finish. Now I've finished all I'm going to do about polishing the body, although really it could do with a professional polish. It's probably the hardest job I find, is doing polishing, because it's just so physical. You have to press hard and stuff like that there, and right, well, the guy who owns this, I'll show him how to do it. But the body's much nicer now. I'm very pleased with you'll see it, the final results when I play a little tune at the end. But what I've now seen, after seeing how clean the body can come up and how shiny and gorgeous it looks, which you'll see later, this head needs to be cleaned too. And the only way to get that up to clean and polished and shiny is to take off the tuners and have a good go with it, unfortunately. But if it's going to make a decent job of it, that's even better. But it definitely, the body now, when you see it, you'll be surprised how much different it is between now and then. And you know what I haven't done? I still haven't taken off that bloody string. Pause. Well, we shouldn't have paused. It didn't take long, but it was a pain in the ass because it already stabbed me earlier when I forgot about it. Getting revenge on me. It's nice to have a bench to work with. I tell you, that's the first thing that you need to have if you want to try and work on guitars, is somewhere you can just go to and your tools are sitting ready for you and handy with you. If you have to go into the garage and move a whole lot of stuff, I can understand why people would be hesitant, but it's great to have just a bench with all your tools around you. Now when I'm taking off these tuners, I can see beneath it a very high gloss, like the gloss of the neck there. That's what the guitar should look like. And the whole guitar should be polished professionally with a machine and all that there. I just couldn't do it. I'm just exhausted doing that first part of the front. So I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning up at the back as much as I can. The guitar was very, very dirty. Now, the owner is a professional musician and tours a lot. He's on tour now, as I said earlier. World tour at the moment. But it's hard for anybody who's used these things as tools to clean it. Actually, you can see the difference there now. So I don't blame him, but it was very, very dirty, and it's probably been dirty from use. His daughter's going to play this now. I got a feeling he'll play it too. Now, I do suspect that this is a laminate rather than a natural wood on the head. I could be wrong, so I'm not going to go crazy about polishing it, but I'm going to give it a decent shine. But let me show you something when I've done this. Look at the dirt off it. And you may think that's not a lot, but that's just a little square of wood at the head. I don't know whether they're using cigarette clubs and stuff like that. They're not, but it makes a huge difference to the guitar's looks, just to bring it up. And this is a quality guitar. The Tangelwood is a quality guitar. I think I looked up the price. This is about £400, still even second hand, £350 to £400 second hand. So, but it sounds lovely and it plays well now. But it's going to play better whenever I've finished. Right, okay, there's the head. Cleaned, easier cleaned by taking that off. So I'm going to stick those back on and then bring you back. Now I put the tuners back on and I'm cleaning the tuners now in position because it makes it easier. But I'm still using the same polish on them. And can you see this? I haven't done this row, but I've done this row. So I'll turn this around, stick those screws back in after cleaning them a bit, and then come back to you when I'm doing the stringing. Now, I think I'm going to call this my wee beauty, because she's a 3/4 size Tangelwood guitar, made in England, of course. I think it's designed and made in England. Yeah, I'm getting confused with the guitars. But looking at the head now, it's nice and clean. It actually could do with even more of a polish on the head and everything. I just don't have the energy for that because it takes a lot of energy. But what I do see is I like to see the neck, another coat on the neck before I go ahead. So I'll put another coat of this on it. And then the next time you see it coming along, it'll have the strings on it and we'll get it tuned up. I can't do much for the intonation because it's preset. But we'll check everything. I'll just check again because I do that bloody many. I'll just check the neck. Yep, neck is perfect. I'm pretty sure I said that already. Or maybe I adjusted it to make it perfect. Who knows? I can't remember. Right, okay, I'll put another coating of Crimson Guitar Oil on this and let it sit. And then when you see me next, it'll be string time. String time in Hitler for Germany. That was a brilliant movie by Mel Brooks. Okay, later. Just to keep y'all in the loop, I haven't polished that yet from the Crimson polishing oil, but I looked at this and this looks a little bit sad too, so I'm going to use some Crimson on this as well. And it's sort of like a miracle wood thing. It brings up the wood beautifully. As you can see, just one coat on it down the sides and all that does all that. So Crimson Guitar, what's the guy's name? I don't know. Anyway, Crimson Guitar Oil, quite like it. Fairly expensive, but I quite like it because of the job it does. It does a really nice job, and it sort of lasts a little bit longer than. Thought I heard a crack there. Lasts a little bit longer than lemon oil. So, but it brings it up beautifully and dark and nice and shiny and stuff like that there, and it does a great job. Now, I looked at this more closely, and I can't do anything with that because somebody's put the super glue on and it's covered a hard shell. But you're always supposed to do a bit of colouring before you put the super glue on, because there's nothing I can put on top of that now, because that's like hard gloss. It's like you can paint anything on that hard gloss or there and it's not going to stay. And if I did try, there might even be a couple of bubbles in the super glue that would fill with colour and show even worse. So I can't do anything with that, unfortunately. But it looks 1,000 times better being polished up with all that scratches gone away. So I'm going to put the strings on now. I'm going to switch the camera off, but I'm going to put the I'm going to put that on. I just wanted to show you that with the Crimson Guitar Oil. Right, the strings are on, and I now remember that the action is not really good enough for this guitar, so I need to look at the action. Now, I have looked at the action and I remembered that is sitting at an angle, the saddle. So the saddle needs to come down. It always should be slightly higher on that side. Well, not always, but most of the time it's always slightly higher. But that's too high all round. So I'm going to bring the saddle down that way. But then I think I'm going to have to bring... Well, I know I'm still going to have to bring down the nut at this end if I want to get really great action on this, and I think it's capable of great action. It's just never been set up properly. So I'm going to loosen the strings all off and take that nut out and reduce it down. I've shown that about a dozen times, so I'll not show it. I'll not come back again until I'm ready to put that in, and I probably will reduce the height of the nut down on camera. Well, you didn't miss much. What I've done is I brought the nut down the way I wanted it to be brought down, with some off the top and little off the left hand side. I took more off than the right hand side. This is a very handy tool. I'm so glad I bought it. I must do a little short video on it someday just to show you how handy it is and how well it works, because there's a couple of little tricks. It has a little slot in the middle that for fatter saddles, and you can bring in the two knobs for shorter saddles. All knobs very good. I wish they hadn't painted it black, because that's just a waste of time. But as you can see, I got some residue off that, and as I was doing it I was very pleased to know that it's a bone nut, and the smell, you can tell from the smell, so I'm going to stick that in now, and next, that's much neater, both sides are almost the same, then I'll do the nut. Okay, so I'll come back to you. Now, I've got the bridge where I want it, sorry, the bridge and saddle where I want them. The neck is dead straight, but this isn't where I want it. It's too high, and I'm pleased that the saddle was bone, because then I can be assured that the, ooh, interesting. Oh, that's interesting indeed, yes. Oh, well, I was just about to sit down and do the nut, but bringing that saddle down has given me the action I want. So all I'm going to do, I'm not going to do any nut trimming, because I have excellent nut there and there. Right, okay, so that's one job less. Whee! Right, okay, switch off, get the guitar up to tune, and now I'll play you a little sample. How happy am I? Eh? Look how lovely that looks now. And look how nice the body looks now that it's back to gloss. Yeah, and as I say, you can, those dents have been hidden pretty well. Not marvelously, but there's another thing makes me happy. Do you remember a video I did where I put my foot on the drawer to balance the guitar and I broke it? But look what a lovely, kind gentleman bought me. It's a footrest for a guitar. And that came out of the blue, I'm delighted to say. So thank you, Jules. And I'm just going to play a couple of chords in this. Just check the tuning. I've stretched the strings. What? Can't believe it. Perfect tuning. Must say something about the guitar. Don't think I need to do the electrics. Electrics were working, although I will plug it in and play it, just to let you hear what it sounds like. Let me just check that tuning again. Yeah, perfect. Sounds really nice, doesn't it? And the tuning stayed in tune. I just bent the strings on the 12th fret like I usually do, you know, stretch them. And it's gone a little bit now. I'm very pleased with that. What about my favorite chord? I like this little beauty, my little beauty, I love it. And now I'm going to plug it in. What's that little mark there? I've polished, oh, it just looks like dirt. I'll take that off later. But I'm going to pause, plug it in, and let you hear it on the amplifier. Well, that didn't take much. It's on the amplifier now, and if you hear, it's quite quiet, but listen. Oh, feedback time. And I'm just looking at the things up here, which, what does it have? It has volume, bass, oh, presence. Let's just turn this old middle section, bass. So this is presence off. Presence fully on. Adds a little bit of a tinkle to it, you know. I really do like that little guitar. It's just the right size for me, and it cleaned up lovely. Now it needs polished. It needs polished all around. I just don't have the energy to do that. The back I washed, but it could really do with a good polish, with polishing wood polish material. But there you go, and I'll end on my chord. Bye-bye, 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 Tangelwood, little Tangelwood, going home. I want to keep it. Bye. No Georgie girl? All right, bye.